Hey everybody, this is BreannaRutter, and in this hair tutorial, I am going to teach you how to do the flip over sew-in method on your own hair step by step for beginners. If you haven't yet, subscribe and click the bell for notifications so that you never miss another video from me again. So this is what I received when I got my Wondess hair. They sent me some lashes as well as my bundles in a pink baggie. And as you can see, this is the quality of their hair. I received 4 bundles of Malaysian loose wave human hair. 2 bundles are in the length 22 inches. And 2 bundles are in the length 24 inches, which gives me a total of 4 bundles. So in a second, I'm going to show you how the hair looks once I've unraveled it. And I'm going to begin sewing my extensions with 2 rows at a time. If you sew 2 rows at a time, this allows for you to do your sew-in as fast as possible. So I just grab my needle and I put it through both wefts. So that way I pull it all the way through. And as you can see, we're going to have our 2 extensions attached as we begin stitching. So this is how my hair looks before I've done anything to it, and I'm gonna go ahead and comb out my hair and begin braiding my braid pattern. So the secret to doing this flip over method is making sure that your perimeter braid is very small and also making sure the base of your braid pattern is very flat. So I'm going to show you my brand new braid pattern that I love to do for all my sew-ins. But this, as you see here, is the only area where you're going to have leave out for the flip over method. Now what I'm doing is I'm flat twisting my edges so that I'm keeping them away from my braids. Also, this helps me to know not to sew on this area because this is a flat twist and not a braid. So I highly suggest that you do that so that when you're doing your sew-ins, you don't get confused as to where your braid pattern is and your leave out is. So for my braid pattern, I will be braiding my hair in cornrow braids. And as you can see here, I'm parting out a line where my next braid will be, and I'm going to be demonstrating with my fingers the direction of my braid. So after I've braided that braid, it's then going to connect into the second one. So I just begin braiding on one side, and then I grab the tail end and bring it into the braid itself. So if you like these tips that I'm showing you so far, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, and also be sure to leave me a comment in the comment section below. So after I finish braiding this braid, as you can see, this is a visual of how your braid pattern will look as it's emerging. So now I'm going to go ahead and part at the very top of my head and where my leave out will be, parting a very thin space to make a very thin braid. It's super important that the braid near your hairline is thin because this is where the magic is going to happen. You don't want the braid big. You want it to be very flat and flush to your scalp, meaning that you want this braid to be small. Now, if you can braid one continuous braid from one side to the other, then be my guest. But for me, I kind of had to find a break in the braid so that way I can braid 2 braids. So as you can see here, the twist is the leave out and the braid will be for my braid pattern. So now the rest of my hair will be braided straight back into cornrow braids, and I'm going to braid those braids a little bit bigger because they don't have to be as small as my perimeter braid. And remember, the perimeter braid is where your hairline or your leave out will be near your hairline. So this is another braid I'm braiding on the side here because it's helping me to sew very continuously around my entire hairline. So I'm making sure to grab that perimeter braid, tuck it into the braid as you see here, so that way I can braid straight down. Now depending on how thick your hair is, you may want to braid some of your braids individually, but if your hair is a little bit on the thinner side or you don't have as much hair, then you can definitely link the ends of braids together. The goal is to make sure that your braid pattern is flat, so if you notice your braid is getting too bulky, you don't want to combine the legs of the braids together. Just leave them as is and then use your crochet hook to hook your braids throughout your braid pattern so that you don't have to sew them down. So if you love those tips, let me know in the comments. And now that my braids are braided, this is how your braid pattern should look right before you begin sewing down your 2 wig caps. I highly suggest that you use 2 wig caps because it helps you to give a very firm foundation to your braid patterns when you're sewing down your hair. Now, some people always leave a comment, why do you have to sew down a wig cap? Is that completely necessary? No, it's not completely necessary, but it definitely helps for areas where you may have some sparseness. Meaning if you've braided some braids a little bit bigger, it just may be scalped there and you want to make sure you can stitch wherever you want. So if I actually put a cap down first, I'm able to stitch in areas where the braids may not be as small. So as you can see here, I stitched my first row double tracked, which means I have 2 tracks together, not 1 track. And then I'm just going to continue to do the fold over method, as you see, as I'm kind of demonstrating with my fingers. So for example, now that I'm doing my first fold, I'm going to show you exactly how that process is done. This is how seamless my technique looks when you're sewing in your extensions. So as you can see, I'm folding those tracks going back in the opposite direction, and I'm doing my same knotting technique with my needle and thread. So I make sure to put the needle through the cap, through the braid, and under the weft, and then I wrap the thread around the needle twice to pull through and create a knot. So this is how seamless my technique looks when you're sewing in your extensions. And this is just one bundle of hair. As you can see, it looks very full. So now I'm just doing a really quick spin around to show you how much progress I've made so far with just one bundle sewn in. What I really love about Wondess hair is that their bundles are extremely full. I could have easily did this look with 3 bundles of hair, but I wanted to do 4 so I can make it extremely full. So now at this point, I'm actually finishing up my 3rd bundle, and I'm continuously doing the fold over method so I don't have to cut through my extensions. Now the secret to getting very close to your hairline, as we're almost nearing the very end of the style where it's very important, is that you continue to go in a C-shaped pattern. So that way, as you get closer to the front, you just have a small area of hair to fill in with your weft. So now that I've sewn in just 3 bundles, I have 1 more to go that I'm going to be sewing at the very top of my head to finish off this look. But this is only 3, and like I said, I could have easily just did 3 bundles, but I wanted to sew the tracks very close together near the back of my head so that it can add extra fullness. So now what I'm doing is I'm making sure to cut it loose, so that way now at this point, I'm only sewing 1 track at a time. The reason why is because we're very close to the edges of our hairline, and you don't want it to look bulky. So to make sure that it looks very flat and seamless, you want to go ahead and cut the track in half, so that way you're only stitching with 1 weft at a time since we're almost finished. That helps it to look extremely natural and flat. So you're going to be stitching, making sure to do the fold over method, going back and forth on both sides. But make sure that you lay the tracks very close to each other. So we're literally going to keep flipping back and forth, back and forth. Now if you don't want to do that, you can cut your extensions into very small pieces and stitch them. But I don't suggest that because you're going to notice a lot of shedding in the beginning. So make sure to just keep flipping back and forth, single tracked only, all the way up to your actual perimeter braid, but make sure to save a little bit of space at the very middle part area that you see here. So this is going to be my last fold right here, and then I'm going to start working my extensions going back to the opposite side of my head, as you see right now. So as we close this space up, you're going to see a very small amount of space at the middle part area of my head, and as you can see, I sewed in everything and I don't have any more extensions. So don't cry for me, ladies, because I got a little trick that will work out for you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the back of my head and I'm gonna trim off a little bit of extensions so that way I can fill in that empty space. So some of you may say, oh no, don't cut your extensions, but remember, I double track sewn on my entire head, so I can cut a little bit of weft off in the back and it's perfectly fine. It's not gonna come loose. With that last piece of extension, I put the needle through the edge of the weft, and then I went through my braid pattern so that way it can lay very flat to my hairline. I did an actual fold only once, and then I cut a small piece of weft to finish stitching that very small point in the beginning. It's super easy and quick to do. So now that all of my bundles are sewn and I am done sewing in my extensions, this is how the style looks. And once again, I installed 4 bundles of Wondess hair. I have 2 bundles in the length 22 inches and 2 bundles in the length 24 inches, giving me a total of 4 bundles of Wondess hair. So as you can see, you can flip it to any side you want, and you don't have to worry about having an actual part, because this is called the flip over method, which means you can flip it to make it look like a side part, or you can flip it to kind of make it look like a middle part. So I'm just using my flat iron to lightly bump the ends of my hair, and then I'm going to take a little bit of styling gel and I'm going to smooth up my edges. Now it's totally up to you if you want to have your edges to look very natural and exactly how they are without much styling, but you know, if you want to just jazz it up a little bit, I highly suggest that you use a little bit of gel or edge control to tie in your look. Now what you want to do is use your fingers and just play with your hair. Just make sure that you grab little pieces of your hairline to kind of blend in throughout the curls, so that way it looks very seamless and unbeweavable. So ladies, if you absolutely love this look, let me know in the comments. And if you watched this far, let me know what types of videos you want to see me do on my channel. Do you want to see a day in the life video, a vlog, a get ready with me, or more creative hair tutorials? Let me know in the comment section below, and I can't wait to read all your comments. If you want to get hair just like this, just click the link down below in the video description and get your hair from Wondess. So now all you have to do is click the bell for notifications, so that way you never miss any new videos from me. Can't wait to see y'all in the next one. Bye bye.